Welcome all to the Snail Trail 4x4 podcast. If you like going off-roading in Toyotas, wrenching on Toyotas, camping in Toyotas, and maybe even poking a little bit of fun at Toyotas, and of course, hearing about how awesome radios are in Toyotas again, then this is the podcast for you. That's right, ladies and germs. My name is 4x4 Toyota Radio Tyler, and joining me again for another episode of Radio Nerd Talk is Mr. Jimmy Jet.
Oh, I was waiting for like a snail board 4x4.
And Jimmy's leaving already. Jimmy's out the door and gone.
Yeah. All right. And joining me today is beep, boop, baba, boop, baba, beep, beep, boop, boop, baba, baba.
An AOL dial-up modem.
Well, there's Morse code in there, wasn't there?
No.
Dot, 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 dot.
Yeah, it's like a did that.
Did that.
So
I was just saying my name
yeah.
in repeater talk.
Gotcha. That works too.
Okay.
How you doing today, man?
I'm good. Happy Monday to everybody out there.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't talk about any football talk because you went out snow wheeling.
I don't care about football.
Yeah. I was born in Santa Clara.
Where's that?
Where the Niners play.
Oh, okay.
So I'm a Niners fan.
Okay.
So
Nice.
we can leave it there.
Cool.
Yeah. All right.
Were you hurt? And do you feel personally traumatized?
No, I think the Kansas City outplayed us. I mean, both teams had a phenomenal game. You know, it was tied at the very end, and then Niners got the ball. They drove all the way down to the goal on their final drive and couldn't get a touchdown. Yep. And then Mahomes and the Kansas City got the ball.
The same thing.
They drove all the way down to the end and they got a touchdown. Yep. So clearly they were the more superior team.
Yep.
Yeah. We both had an opportunity to do the same exact thing. Kansas City could complete it and Niners couldn't.
Yeah. Granted, I haven't ever really watched or paid attention to football and Super Bowls.
Yeah.
But that was the first Super Bowl I've ever seen go into overtime.
I'm sure it's happened before.
I
can't think of one off the top of my head.
It definitely has happened before, but I've never watched one.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of fun for me. That was a new experience.
2 records got set in that.
2?
Yeah.
I only knew of one. What was the second one?
What was the first one?
The first one was, no, it wasn't a back-to-back. It was so the big thing that they were talking about was doing a 3 Super Bowls in a row for one.
Yeah.
One team.
A dynasty, yeah.
And so nobody's ever done that before. And so the Chiefs just did it twice, apparently. I don't know what they did last year. So
yeah,
but that's been done before. Doing it twice has been done before. And the Mahomes is now won his 3rd Super Bowl. So he is tied, I think, for 2nd place with like Joe Montana and a couple other guys.
Yeah, I think.
And then Tom Brady is the leader right now with 5.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, those aren't.
What were the 2 records in?
So the kicker for the 49ers kicked the longest field goal ever kicked in a Super Bowl.
Wow.
It was like
53 yarder.
55.
Okay.
And then the next time they went out, the Kansas City went out, their kicker kicked a 57-yarder and beat the record that was just set.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. 57 yards.
Yeah. It seemed
That's
like
nuts.
So I got back from my wheeling trip and it was 2 minutes into the 4th quarter, something like that. And it just seemed like everything the Niners did, the Chiefs did just ever so slightly better, like 5 to 10% better on all the statistics. So that kick is just another example of it.
Perfect example. Like our kicker could kick the best he could kick at 55, and then Kansas City's kicker comes out and beats it at 57.
Yeah.
Yep. That's really, I mean, the game went that way.
Yeah.
You know, the first half went to the Niners and the second half went to Kansas City, and they just did it better.
So yeah, there's your football update for everybody out there.
Yeah. a buck short day later or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, finally out there.
Yep.
It was fun. I went over to the parents' house. My dad's birthday is on Valentine's Day or was on Valentine's Day after now this has passed. But so we celebrated Super Bowl and his birthday all at once.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's what we did.
What I was more curious about from the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Was
the commercials?
Yes, but I didn't really pay attention to anything. I never saw any commercials that really stood out to me. I don't pay attention to commercials, but what I was interested in was when they went into overtime. I know that the commercials for the Super Bowl are the highest paying advertisements, dollar value wise, of like anything in the world, pretty much. Yeah. And so they have very specific time slots when those commercials play because they're paying a fuck ton of money for those commercials, right? So they need to be ensured that they're going to play at this time, at this point into the game. What happens if a game goes to overtime and there's extra commercials now? Like, does somebody get free bonus commercials? Yeah. Whoever. Or is there a business plan that says you can get a Super Bowl commercial for 30% of the cost of a normal Super Bowl commercial, but there's a chance it may never air because it's set up and designed to go into the overtime commercials. Yeah, and so if the game goes into overtime, you get cheap commercials during the Super Bowl. If it doesn't go into overtime, you wasted your money. Yeah. So I want to know how that works. I want to know how that gamble. 120%, and if it goes into overtime, you get your commercial gets played again. Yeah, something like that. Right? I don't know. Yeah. So it's a good question. That's the gamble I want to know about. Too funny. Oh man. I didn't see any coyotes though during the Super Bowl. Was there supposed to be coyotes or no? But we are giving away some coyotes. Okay. I was wondering if you were going to go that route or if you were going to start talking about the coyotes from the NIF. Oh no. Yeah, there's some weird statues out in front of the Lawrence Livermore Labs area that were like coyotes, or I think they're coyotes. There's 3 that we found, and we're like, yeah, why are these out here? We never found out. Yeah, it scares all the cats away. I don't know. Maybe. No, we're giving away a set of coyote beadlocks. Yes, we are. For this month's giveaway, the month of February. So get in there on iRate 4x4 and win yourself a set of coyote beadlocks, 17-inch rims, up to 10 inches wide, I believe. Up to like $1,200 value on these guys. What's fantastic about inner beadlocks is they not only secure your outer beadlock or your outer bead on your tire to wheel, but also your inner bead. Yeah. The balloon inflates and it presses out on the wheel, pinching it between the balloon section and your rim or wheel, and it holds it nice and tight. So it's actually slightly superior to actual beadlocks. Yeah, and you can run them with actual beadlocks too, in order to hold your inside bead on the inside of your wheel. So you could double up. Yeah, you could double up, which I'm actually debating on doing in the 4Runner. Yeah, especially if you keep going down to 1 PSI. Yeah, 0 to 1 PSI. Yeah, and then bombing through the snow trails like I was. Because, I think now that we're talking about it, I think Kevin Poole is running inner beadlocks too on his 4Runner. Beadlocks? I think so. I know Kevin is running inner beadlocks. Yeah. I know that, but I don't know if he has beadlock wheels. I don't know if he's running beadlock wheels either. No. Yeah, I don't know. But I do know that he is running them because I contacted him when I was doing mine and the install, and I had a few questions. Yep. So I know that there's, I've had a couple people reach out with questions and concerns about feedback on inner beadlocks. And the biggest one that I hear about, and one of the reasons why some of the moon buggy cars no longer run inner beadlocks for competitions. Okay. Was they were having issues with pinch flats. Oh, so the casing wouldn't come down far enough to be able to hold the inner tube in between the casing and your wheels, right? Okay. And so the inner tube would escape out of the casing and get pinched between the casing and your wheel. Oh, wow. And it would cause a pinch flat on the inner tube. Oh, never heard that. Yeah. And so apparently that was a very common issue with the Stawns. And one of the things that Coyote fixed when they redesigned the inner beadlock, it took them 2 years to kind of re-engineer and redesign it all and fix the problems that Stawn was having. So that problem is fixed with Coyotes. There's material that wraps all the way around and down into the wheel area now with those. So. And he added, what he did was he added an edging on that material all the way around. So it locks that material in and down and keeps it from coming out at all. Yeah. It completely covers the
the inner tube that's
The
on
inner
the
tube.
inside.
Yeah.
So it can't slide out and around.
Yep. So, set of inner beadlock, some Coyote. Thank you to Coyote and Morphlate for donating that for the listeners. Nice $1,200 value there. So, we'll let you guys know once those are in at the warehouse, and we'll post some pictures out on the Instagrams with a little bit more information too.
Well, we do have a fun announcement, fun but somber announcement. The Marlin Crawler Remembered Celebration of Life situation is coming up.
It is this year. The date for everybody out there is June 1st.
Yeah, out at the Clovis Fairgrounds.
Yep, Clovis Fairgrounds. I believe that's where I'm 99% sure it's Clovis Fairgrounds. It might be I don't know if there's multiple fairgrounds in Clovis, but I remember for some reason thinking that it was a weird name than just Clovis Fairgrounds. I'll double check that and get back to you guys. But there's been talks that they are trying to set up camping at the fairgrounds as well.
Oh, cool.
So if people wanted to come down and do camping for the weekend for June 1st, that is going to be going on in Clovis. So if you guys are interested in doing that, I think it's going to be awesome. There's going to be a lot of people there. I think a lot of Toyotas there, a lot of really cool rigs. It's going to be a celebration of life for Marlon Chikowski. So,
yeah. I'm going to be there.
Yep.
Questionable if Tyler's going to make it, but I believe he's going to put his foot down and
I'm going to try.
Make it at least for the day.
Yep.
But we're definitely going to do some sort of get together on the Snail Trail side, whether it's just a meet up at a bar in a location and relax and have a drink and have a cheers to Marlin, or a trail run. We'll let you guys know when we get closer.
Yeah, there's rumors. We've had a couple people reaching out asking if we can put together a trail run up to the Shaver Lake area, which is, Bald Mountain, Swamp Lake, Doozy, and something like that. So we don't know yet. There's no confirmed information there. All we know is that the Memorial Life is on June 1st, and keep your ear holes open to see if we decide to do anything else.
All right. Anything else?
I don't
you're a repeater too.
Yeah, right. Black Tie and Boots is coming up.
Oh, yeah. That's
so
soon.
There's still tables and chairs and seats available for the dinner. So if anybody wants to be involved with that, reach out to Rubicon Trail Foundation. It is a really cool night. They got a big room. There's 44 tables available now, something like that. So Rubicon Trail Foundation, it's going to be held in Rancho Cordova.
Oh,
yep.
Okay. Not at Rob's?
Not at Rob's. No, that's Cantina.
Oh,
that's
Cantina,
done for
that's
Rob's.
right.
Yeah. So anyways, that'll be Rancho Cordova at whatever that hotel is right on the corner of Sunrise and 50.
What is
There's
that?
a hotel right there. Marriott, maybe?
La Quintet?
La Quinta?
La Quinta?
I don't know which hotel it is. It's right on the corner of Sunrise and 50, pretty much, though.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So there's that. Cal 4 convention's coming up. I will not be going, but that's down in Visalia, California. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff coming up. Easter Jeep Safari, Morphlate will be out at. So EJS, yeah.
Wow.
And then you're going out to
Cruise Moab
a couple weeks later.
Yes, I am.
So yeah, we're going to be all over the place. I'll be on lockdown pretty much from home, but still helping to kind of coordinate a lot of different things.
Yeah, I messed up some Cruise Moab stuff already.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Well, I signed up as a vendor. So I'm going to do Snail Armor, get a little booth there.
Sweet.
Be there for vendor night, hang out with everybody. Hopefully be over there by Lee and Salt Function and everybody that he's associated with. And then there was a bunch of ads for registration time. Time to sign up. And I'm like, I got to go up and choose my trails.
Yeah.
And so I signed up, and then the trail thing never came around.
Oh.
And I was like, wait, shit. I just completely signed up as a vendor twice. That's what I did.
Good job.
So I stole somebody's spot because they only let so many people in.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I messaged them as soon as I realized it that day, like with, as soon as I'm like, congratulations, you're registered. I'm like, I know, I'm already registered.
Yeah.
Where's the trail sign up stuff?
Yeah.
And I'm looking around, and they're like, at the very bottom in like fine print, it says trail registration will be released shortly, and you'll get we'll email you. And I'm like,
yeah,
damn it. And then I messaged, Andy and Matt Farr.
Yep.
And I was like, I screwed up, guys. Sorry.
There we go. The freaking snail trail guys screwed up Cruise Moab again.
Yep. Flopping in Hell's Revenge and breaking leaf springs at
Golden Spike
on the waterfall.
Yep.
And then doing multiple registrations and stealing people's spots. That's us. We got to stop doing that.
They're going to stop inviting us soon.
Right.
Forget those guys.
Yeah. So
that's good.
They figured it out pretty quickly. I think they figured it out before I even messaged them, which is impressive because it was like shortly after. It's like, oh yeah, I'm an idiot. I got a message from both Andy and Far saying, yeah, we saw that. We're opening another spot. And I said, okay, thanks. We'll figure out what I need to, what we need to do later.
Yeah. Well, cool. I'm glad that that's all getting worked out.
Yeah. Whoopsies.
Oopsie doopsies. We got a couple more fun interviews coming up over the next couple weeks for everybody.
Yeah. We got a few lined up. It's going to be fun.
That'll be fun. I might be disappearing here. Let's see. This is Monday. Could be anytime. We're technically full term right now. So whenever that kid decides he's ready to come out, that's I'm off air for a while. So see how that goes.
A little while. I foresee
not a little while.
No, for a little while.
Okay. Yeah.
You said a lot of while.
Oh, okay.
I said a little while.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I foresee the secretary kicking you out eventually.
Well, it's part of my strategy is to be so annoying that she says I'm not allowed to be around anymore.
Yeah. There you go. Then you can walk away and be like, peace. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. Well, we'll keep you guys updated on that front if it happens. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll have an episode where it's just me all alone and you'll figure it out right quick.
Yep.
The episode will be 7 minutes long.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll be like, Tyler had a baby. It's alive. Everybody's healthy. And I'll see you next week.
Yeah. we got to figure some stuff out now.
we got a giveaway going on.
Yep. Cool deal. I don't know. Anything else before we get into nerd stuff?
No, let's get bored here shortly.
No, we're going to get excited.
Oh.
All right. Well, go ahead. Grab your favorite drink. Grab your favorite flavored popcorn. And we'll be right on back with today's campfire discussion.
Are you tired of landing in potholes and bouncing off obstacles? To play at your full potential, correctly tuned coilovers allow you to float over the rocks and gain more traction. At 4-Wheel Underground, our full suspension systems include custom-tuned coilovers for your specific application. To learn more, visit 4wheelunderground.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. How's that? Is that better?
Better.
All right. Welcome back to the show. We got a fun topic, in my opinion. Jimmy's just ready to go to the next recording. So we're going to talk about radio stuff. Radios. And this was kind of all prompted from a couple different things, really. First was I set up a digipeater for APRS. How many people out there know what APRS stands for? Raise your hands. Nobody.
Well, I do notice that you didn't raise your hand either.
Oh.
There it is. Okay.
So no, APRS is a really cool protocol. It's a communication protocol for amateur radio, ham radio, right? You need to have a license to be on ham radio. You need to know a couple things. You need to know how to deal with radios and use them responsibly and safely. And so because of that, you have to take a test to prove that you know some stuff. But once you have your license, you get pretty open access to play around with radio stuff.
Yeah, you do.
Because they're kind of like, well, you should know when you're not being responsible. And you also know that if you fuck things up, then you get a $10,000 fine from the FCC. So don't fuck things up. And you can play around all you want. One of the things that we get to play around with is a really, really cool tool that off-roaders is super handy for. Super handy for off-roaders. I got a little Yoda on that one. And so
more nerd talk.
Yeah. So this is, it's a geolocation tracking via radio waves.
Yeah.
So
How does that work though? Like, well, actually, I have my first question is what does APRS stand for?
Good question. APRS stands for Automatic Packet Reporting System.
Okay.
And so what it does is it takes a data packet and transmits it via radio to other radios, right? We can't, as human beings, understand that packet. We cannot hear the noise of the packet and decode it ourselves.
Got it.
It needs to be
Morse code.
It's not Morse code, and it's a very quick.
It's a zip file.
Yeah, it's an audio zip file that we cannot decode with our own brains. No, it sounds a lot like an old dial-up modem.
Okay.
And so, but it's like a 1.5, 2 second blip of dial-up modem audio. And in that 1.5 to 2 seconds, it's making some noises like a fax machine, right? But it's transmitting a bunch of different data with those noises.
Interesting.
And so what some decoder on the other end will receive this data packet and decode it. And in it is telemetry data. So your geolocation, your heading, your speed. In it as well is like you can think of it like a little mini tweet. So I think it's 46 characters you can send.
Cool.
In this message with this data packet. You can also put in weather station data.
Oh.
So there's weather stations can operate on APRS protocol and translate their weather station data to APRS protocol. And that way you can see what this weather station is putting out.
So
what
like
is reading from the weather.
So in theory, and maybe they have it, the antenna station at Spider could have a weather protocol on APRS, and then you could just type in whatever the call sign is for that station, and it'll go 5 minutes ago. It was 5% rain and 3 mile-an-hour winds or something like that.
Absolutely. And there is.
Oh,
yep. There is a weather station at Spider Lake.
I didn't know there was. I knew there was an antenna there, but I didn't know there was a weather station.
Yep, they have a weather station connected at the repeater site at Spider Lake.
Okay.
I'm going to pull it up right now so that I can tell everybody what that is and how to access it. And then we'll do a fun little, I forget the name of it. I have to go. 1 second. So everybody pull out your phones, pull out your computers, pull out your tablets, whatever you got. Go to a web browser and type in aprs.fi. That's Foxtrot, India.
Please don't do this while you're driving.
I don't do it while you're driving. Have your co-pilot, your wrong seat, go and do this.
Okay.
In the search bar
at the bottom
on mobile, it'll be on the right-hand side on a computer. Type in SPDR for Spider, WX, all one word. SPDRWX. And then hit search.
Got it.
So that should take you to the Spider Lake weather station. And from there should be a link there that says show weather charts. So it'll, on the little pop-up window, it tells you the current information. So you've got temperature, humidity, pressure, wind, gusts, rain since midnight. And then he has the little tweet, the 46 characters set to automatically show the voltage of the electrical system there so that he knows if the battery is getting low during wintertime for some reason, he needs to go up and check on it.
Cool.
But you can click on show weather charts and
you
can have
2 degrees up there right now.
Yep. So you can look at the weather charts and figure out what the historical data has been over the past week, I believe, for all of that data.
Wow. That's pretty neat.
So APRS, that's one usage of it, is transmitting weather station data.
Okay.
And then another use of it is transmitting telemetry data, as well as this kind of 46 character tweet message, broadcast message.
Okay.
What's really neat about it is if you have GPS coordinates for something and you have breadcrumbs because that something is transmitting its APRS data every minute, every 30 seconds, every 2 minutes, whatever the time pattern is.
You can set that.
You can set it.
Yeah.
So if you have all these going through and being transmitted over radio waves, all you need to do is capture that data with a receiver, a radio receiver, and then find a way to upload it to the internet. And then you can do some really cool stuff.
Like what, Tyler?
Like text people, email people.
You can email them?
You can email through APRS. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can, let's see, just track and see where people are in the world. You can send out an SOS dispatch.
Oh, okay.
So I believe that there's a couple of search and rescue networks that are now tied into the APRS databases that troll the database looking for a specific protocol on there. So if you put in the protocol and send it out as an APRS broadcast, it will send in the cavalry for you.
Cool.
I don't remember what that protocol is. I don't have it written down. I would need to look it up. But I believe that's something that some search and rescue networks have started doing as well.
Nice.
That's kind of the gist of it, right? It's location data, and the location data is really what we're looking for as off-roaders.
Right.
What I did was I've always kind of played around with APRS. I've always just messed with it to see my own tracks and see my own tracking. And my mother-in-law loves watching where I go when I go off-roading.
Yeah, that's weird. But
and
okay.
It's used quite a bit with search and rescue teams to track search and rescuers while they're out looking for people.
Okay. Yeah.
And
I
so
can see that.
The cool thing is you can take all of that aggregate data that's incoming to the APRS servers and you can overlay it on maps. And there's a lot of open source maps out there, right? Topographic
Absolutely.
maps, satellite imagery maps, all these different kind of maps that you can overlay this data on. So you can see if you have a group of 15 search and rescuers out there somewhere, you can keep track of where each one is at a main dispatch center.
That's cool. I could see another advantage to that is you can, if you have their tracking data up quick enough, you could actually find areas that they might have all gone through at the, like that they all covered, or areas that none of them had covered.
Yep.
And they're like, hey, looking at this map, you all need to go west.
Yeah.
None of you have gone that way yet.
Yep.
Or what, or this generic area, go around that lake. Nobody's over at that lake yet. So that's pretty neat.
Yep.
And I like the fact that, the breadcrumbs, right? That you're however often you have it sync, it's sending that information up to the cloud or the interwebs or wherever it goes into La La Land. And but then when it gets put onto the maps, you can see where you've been. You can see the past. You can see, how fast you were traveling.
Yep.
You can see, if you have the weather tied into it, you can see what the weather was at that time. I liked it because then the assistant could follow along with me on my trip, and say it's Sunday and I'm supposed to be home. But then she goes on to APRS.fi and she goes, well, he's only here. He's not going to be home for another 3 hours.
Yeah.
And she could figure that out on herself if I'm out of cell phone reception.
Exactly. Yep, that's a huge benefit to it as well. The texting is another big benefit. I've used that with people before. Just texting a quick message out to say, hey, all is good. We're at camp. You know, love you. Have a good night.
Right.
Or, hey, we broke stuff. I won't be home today. We're staying one more night out here. I'll be home tomorrow kind of thing.
Right.
Don't worry about us. Or you can use it, text somebody and say SOS, call search and rescue.
Yeah, right.
And then they have your location as well. So in the text message, they have some different kind of hotkeys you can send as well. That if you send, it's like I don't know what it's like 2-stroke. So it's a trigger key and then a key that tells what is being sent. So 2 characters can send an entire message to somebody in text messaging.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So you can have it send a link to the GPS coordinates on Google Map of where you are.
Oh,
so you can put SOS, click this link.
Yeah.
And it'll just have a URL embedded in the message to a Google Maps pin of your GPS coordinates.
Cool.
So some pretty interesting stuff you can do.
You'd have to set that up prior, right?
You do have to set that up prior, but it'll automatically update your GPS coordinates and send which ones you're sending.
Yeah. Once you hit that key, it'll automatically send it with the correct GPS coordinates, but you have to do all the legwork prior.
Yeah.
To get it to do that feature.
Yep. And it comes through just like a normal text message for the other person.
Just a different number.
Just a different phone number, but it's the same phone number every time. So if you save that phone number in your contacts as APRS messaging, the text message will come through. It says text message from K6TLR and then the message. And then to reply, the person, all they do is they reply back to the text message phone number, and the system will send that communication in reverse back to the APRS, the person receiving it on the radio.
Does the person that is responding on their phone need to have a ham radio license?
They should. Legally, yes.
Legally, yes.
Yes.
Okay, because it is a form of broadcasting, but
it's going over the ham radio airwaves. You're supposed to have a ham radio license for it. Yep. So, but I mean, if it's an emergency, all rules are out the door. That's the rules of radio, is if you're in a life or death situation, you get a hold of somebody and communicate with them however you can.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah. But I mean,
you can't do it for general chat.
No, not for general chat.
And then in regards to if the assistant or secretary is responding via text message, it comes through on the radio.
It comes through on the radio. Yeah. So it's a radio receive. So what happens for the infrastructure is your radio will send out an APRS packet.
Correct. Yeah.
Up into the air. It's broadcasted out, general broadcast. Then could be one of two things that receives the signal. One of them is an APRS repeater called a digipeater.
Okay.
And they're designed to repeat digital signals. And typically they're set up so that they're just repeating APRS signals. You do it on a certain frequency. So 144.390 megahertz is the APRS frequency. You can technically run APRS on any frequency you want. It's not exactly good etiquette to do that, but you're not going to be on the same network. So the nationwide for the United States APRS network is on 144.390. So if you want to make use of text messaging, of map overlays, all that kind of stuff, you need to be on that 144.390 so that the network hardware knows how to pick up your signals and relay them.
Got it.
If you're not on that frequencies, the network hardware will not pick you up. So the digipeaters that we just talked about, the digital repeaters, and the iGates. And an iGate is kind of like your endpoint of the radio signal. That's where...
Endpoint as in like, this is as far as the signal's ever going to get?
Kind of. It's the point at which your radio signal gets translated from a radio signal to internet signal.
Oh.
So an iGate is just a radio receiver set up on 144.390 to receive any incoming signal on 144.390 and translate that modem noise into internet packets.
Got it.
And that submits it to the APRS database on the internet for that to then now get shown up on APRS.fi on a map overlay, or if there's certain protocols on before, there's different servers that troll the database looking for text message protocols that are on there, or emergency call out protocols on there.
So my radio sends out a data packet when I'm on 144.390 and I have it set up let's just say once a minute. Every minute it sends out this blurb into the airwaves.
Yep.
And then I'm more or less hoping that an antenna is out there receiving this.
Yes.
That antenna translates it from the packet that comes out of my radio into a digital, from an audio wave into a digital
ones and
file.
zeros. Yep. Ones and zeros. Yep.
And then it sends it out into the internet.
Yep.
Then does it go to some database that then like sends it out as like RSS feeds, or does it set it up to a database and then all these things look at the database to try and get the information?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
So there are different things looking at the database and all the incoming data from APRS data, and they are looking at every single line of data that comes in and then deciding whether or not they need to do something with that line.
Sure. And that database is a central database for all APRS across the nation?
Pretty much. Yep.
Dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you go to APRS.fi and you scroll over like Sacramento or LA or whatever, and there are
a lot of signals.
Yes. There are thousands of them out there.
Yeah.
And until you type in who you're looking for, it eliminates everything else, all the noise, and it just shows that one.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. That's crazy.
So that's kind of how the infrastructure of it works, right?
Yeah.
if you wanted to say, and here's where.
So does a phone, sorry to interrupt. So does a phone, how does it know that one's a text message or one's a GPS location or one's a weather report?
Good question. So in order to do that, there are, it's a senders and receivers, right? So you have
It's like pitchers and catchers.
Just like pitchers and catchers.
Okay.
So I would be sending, and in order to send a message to an individual, you have to type in who you're sending it to. So say you and I are on the trail and I wanted to send you a message via APRS. I could type to KJ1MMY, whatever my message is.
Okay.
And it would show up only on your radio, that message.
How long does it show up?
It depends on your radio, how long you have it set for. I think on your radio, it shows messages for like 3 seconds.
Yeah, it's not long.
Yeah. But you can set that to be longer, especially if it's something that's to your call sign.
Okay.
And that's part of the reason why that Yaesu radio you have requires you to put in your call sign when on the radio and have it in the settings, is for the APRS usage of it.
Yeah.
You have to type in that you want it to go to an individual, right?
Okay.
So the SMS server, the text messaging server, is SMS GTE. It's for SMS gateway. So if you type in SMS GTE at the beginning of your tweet, your little mini tweet on your APRS packet, then there's an APRS server that is trolling all the data coming into the APRS servers that looks for any line that starts with SMS GTE.
Wow.
And it will then take whatever's after that and do something with that data, that information.
Okay.
So like if you wanted to text message the Snail Trail phone, you would put in SMS GTE space, what is it? 916-345-4744.
Yeah.
Colon, hey guys. And it would come through on APRS as a text message to the Snail Trail phone.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then you can just reply from here and it'll follow that path in reverse back to the person on the radio.
Sweet.
So
if the assistant and mini assistant did not have school on Monday, I would say I'm going to sit in Bobcat for an hour, XYZ time, and you all can APRS me.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, my whole family does not have any school on Monday, so I'm going to be occupied doing random things.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool thing. The issue with APRS and radios is that radios are not typically set up to easily use APRS messaging.
Right.
Because you have to type everything in on...
It's a K9.
It's, yeah. You have to type everything in either on the keypad on your microphone or using the scroll dials on your radio.
Right.
And so it's just a pain in the ass to do any sort of messaging on those.
Yeah. If you were not raised in the 90s.
True, right?
Right. I don't even have to look at a phone to know what I'm typing. I used to have the phone under my desk and I could hit, like 443319, and I'd be saying a whole sentence.
Yeah. Yep. I never got quite that good. I would always have to do a couple words at a time.
Right.
And then look at it to confirm what I was doing. But yeah, there's a radio though that I found I really like, which is that Bluetooth radio that has everything is controlled by an app on your phone. The radio is a very simple radio. It's a send and receive radio. The app on your phone is where all the magic happens.
Right.
And so there's screen set up like a chat box on the app where you can get into it and then have a conversation using the chat box. And all it does is it takes what you inputted in the chat box and translates it to an APRS packet and then sends that audio signal to the radio via Bluetooth. The radio transmits it out via RF to the APRS networks.
Right.
The problem with that radio is that the app developers don't know how APRS works.
Yeah.
So the chat function is not working properly on Android. Finally, somebody who is an app developer for Apple stuff got involved and was like, you guys, I can make this app work for APRS messaging. And he got involved and fixed the Apple app, but nobody's still gotten involved with the Android one yet.
Bummer.
So messaging does not work for conversations. You can still send a message out, but you can't have like a full-on conversation on Android with it yet. But you can still send a text message out. So like a notice.
So you can actually use your phone and have a full keyboard and write the message.
Yep.
44 characters long.
Yep.
44 characters long.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's some of the fun things you can do with messaging on it. What I've found that I have really wanted to use it for is going on trail rides with my club, right? So if you can have the person in the front of the line and the person in the back of the line on APRS and be able to input and their data over a map overlay on a tablet or a phone or something while you're driving, then as long as nobody lets anybody in front of the front person and behind the rear person, where your whole group is.
Pretty much, yeah.
When things are stopped. You don't have to keep communicating that over a radio. You can just kind of keep going and do your thing. And if everybody in your group has APRS on, then you can track everybody in the group. You don't have to communicate anything. And if somebody breaks down, you know where to find them at.
Right.
And where to go find them and get them help. But everybody can now kind of travel at their own pace, do their own thing until they need to go back and find other people.
Sure. That's pretty cool. That's a good idea. So how would you'd have to have a map downloaded?
Yep. Offline, which you can do with a couple different APRS apps.
Okay. And that was going to be my next sort of question. Like, could I use Gaia or could I use Onyx to put to have the track on top of my map?
Yeah. Not yet.
Okay.
So I have, it seems like Gaia has zero interest in doing APRS functionality with their app. People have brought it up multiple times on their user boards and they're getting zero attention from Gaia about it.
Okay.
I've talked with a couple people at Onyx about that. And that is something that Onyx wants to do. They just don't have anybody that understands the APRS protocol there.
Got it.
So I've offered to sit down and talk with them about APRS and APRS protocol and seeing if there's a way to get that overlaid.
That would be so cool.
Apps. Dude, whoever does it first, whatever mapping company does APRS mapping first, they're going to, in my opinion, they should win all the business of every single off-roader.
Yeah.
So,
but not a lot of there are a lot of off-roaders that have ham, but not everybody does. No. So
but if you
sideball.
I was going to say, if you could take your APRS signal and overlay it on your Onyx maps for multiple people in your group, would that be a carrot
big enough
to get people to go get their ham license?
I don't know. Can you do APRS on GMRS?
Not yet.
Okay.
It's totally possible. Yes, you absolutely can.
It just has to get done.
It just has you can literally take and you can set up APRS network on any frequency within the realm of reason, right? So you're not setting up on emergency dispatch frequencies or CAL FIRE or sheriff frequencies, anything like that, military stuff. But if you wanted to take and piss off everybody on a GMRS channel, you could, in theory, start up just sending APRS data packets on GMRS 14.
Yeah.
And then just nobody gets to really use GMRS 14 for voice comms because all these data packets are going to be coming through.
Right. They're already limited on their channels. That's a problem.
But in theory, you could.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what I want to do on my commercial frequencies for King of the Hammers.
Okay.
I want to take and set up a private APRS network and run tracking for like 50 cars and see what it does on a standalone private network that I set up all the infrastructure for. But until we get there, I think next year I have 2 cars that are going to be guinea pigs to run APRS on for next year. And we'll just run those on the ham frequency ones.
Are they the same make and model?
The cars?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll set those up on the cars and run it and see how it does. Because this year, when we were down at King of the Hammers, I set up a digipeater.
Yeah.
A digital APRS repeater up on top of Fisher. And it was able to pull the data signals out of Johnson Valley and broadcast them over to essentially San Bernardino. And then there was a bunch of iGates in San Bernardino that were receiving all of the packets, the data from my repeater, and putting all that data online on the internet.
That's cool. Okay.
And then we were able to access all that data back at camp with the Starlink.
Right. Okay. That was going to be my question. So if you set up your personal commercial repeater to transmit APRS signals, you still have to get it to an iGate.
Yes. Yep. So the other option is to set up a Starlink at my repeater site that runs an iGate for all the API. That would be the private network, right? I could set up my own private network by doing it that way.
So you can't just like turn your radio antenna and point it right at camp and have it just send us signals down to your computer.
We can do that too.
And fry everybody.
Yeah, pretty much.
Way.
Yeah. Birds will catch on fire
as
they fly through the radio wave. No, I think that with a digipeater, I think that the coverage would be good enough where we could run a private network and just off of the digipeater alone. We wouldn't necessarily need an iGate because there's no need for that data to really go to the internet. We mainly need it at our race camp dispatch so that we know where our crew is or where the race cars are.
Yeah.
Know for timing and splits and all that stuff.
So could you set it up on almost any frequency as long as you know what the receiving frequency should be?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah. So in theory, I mean, APRS is supposed to be a ham radio protocol.
Yeah.
So all the rules, the etiquette of ham radio kind of apply to it where you're not using it to make money off of. You're not privatizing it. You're not commercializing it.
You're not playing radio.
You're not. Yeah.
Songs over the waves. Yeah.
Yep.
But if you have your own commercial frequency, then you can collect that data packet. You can transmit it properly. And if you're transmitting it to your computer as the iGate and receiving it at your computer, then you kind of have your own little APRS loop.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that's kind of my thought for next year is building my own private APRS network and testing it on 2 race cars and see how it does. Because this last year, the signals we were pulling out of the lake bed were clean, clear, and great. I don't think we had a dropped packet the whole time. It was pretty impressive.
That is nice.
It worked way better than I thought it was going to work. But I also didn't have anybody going out to RP1.
Okay.
Or way out in the desert lap.
Sure.
So all the signals we did were kind of right there around Hammertown.
Okay.
So I'd be curious to see how the signals get when you're all the way back out at RP1.
I would assume if you have radio comm communication out there, in theory, you should be able to have the signal reach the digipeater as well.
Yep. So one of the cool things about having a digital protocol, which is instead of like hearing my voice right now, we hear that modem dial-up noise.
Yeah. That's what I hear every time you talk.
Pretty much. I'm used to it. So if you have one of those, the benefit to a digital protocol is that it's a much lower bandwidth. And so since you're using a lot less bandwidth to send the signal, you can get the signal to go further on lower power.
It's like bass.
Yes. Similar to bass, right? And not only that, but there's error correction built into the signal. So if you're like at the edges of what can be received by an antenna and a power signal, there's certain error correction built into the protocol. So that,
clean up the signal.
To clean up the signal and make sure that the receiver can decode it.
Cool.
Yeah. I was like, man, I don't know if I'll be able to get from Fisher out to Cafe 247 because that's essentially how far out the desert loop goes.
Yeah. Wow.
And so I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get signal that far. But this last weekend while I was snow wheeling, when I got back home, I went and looked over a bunch of the data that I was sending and where the packets were going to, which iGates they were making it into.
Yeah, you really did get nerdy. Huh?
I got super nerdy off of it.
Okay. So you were off-roading at more air quotes entrance to the Rubicon area.
Yep.
Up on Wentworth Springs general area.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And my packets were making it all the way to Clear Lake.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Clear Lake.
Wow.
Before they bounced and went to an iGate. Like I think my biggest hop went from Clear Lake down into San Francisco. So an iGate in San Francisco was picking up a couple of my data packets.
So Clear Lake, for those that don't know California very well, I don't know what the bird fly mileage is, but you're more or less going down the Sierra Nevada mountain range, past Sacramento, and out past Davis, and there's a lake out there called Clear Lake. So it was going, I would guess, 75 miles.
More than that.
You think?
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up and do like a straight line of sight on Google Maps right now to figure out how far that one single hop was. But yeah, let me see if we can figure that out. All right, so Onyx has a cool feature where you can figure out line distance, line of sight.
Cool.
As the crow flies distance.
Trying to do it in Google and I couldn't figure it out right away.
So from Wentworth Springs Campground to Clear Lake, line of sight is 125 miles.
Wow.
And that was running, I think I was running 40 watts on that transmission signal when I got up there.
Sure. Okay.
So 125 miles. I'm like, that should be good enough to get from the top of Fisher out to RP1 just fine.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah.
I mean, what? That's a half an hour drive on the road going 60 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So that's roughly 30 miles.
Yeah, that'd be my guess. 20 to 30 miles, something like that. So, as the crow flies.
You should be able to cover that.
You're right. So that was kind of what got me really excited when I saw the data and pulled up the data after I got home from wheeling on Sunday in the snow and started looking at, what is the feasibility of an APRS signal, how much distance it can cover.
Yeah.
And so
that's crazy.
Yeah. I was getting down to Clear Lake on quite a few of the initial hops, the first from my car to the first digipeater. And then I was getting from Clear Lake down to Santa Rosa, Clear Lake down into San Francisco, Clear Lake to Marin.
Off of repeaters? Off
of that digipeater in Clear Lake to iGates in those areas.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is that only because the repeater that is at Clear Lake was the only digipeater around? Why were you going to that one?
There was other digipeaters around that were closer that my packets would get picked up by.
Okay.
But that was the furthest one. And that one was a fairly regular one.
Wow.
So
somehow you can look at the signal that got sent and you can check out who received that signal.
Yeah. So if you go on to aprs.fi again, and you type in K6TLR, it'll bring up the last, I think, hour of my trip on Sunday, which is pretty much like up at Highway 50 in Pollock Pines, and then my trip down Highway 50. But along that line are dots, right? Each one of the dots are a data packet that I sent out from the car, from the Forerunner. You can tap that dot and it will briefly show a line coming off of that dot to somewhere probably off screen. You're gonna have to zoom out to see exactly where it goes. But that line that briefly comes up is where the transmission signal, the path your transmission signal took to get to either an iGate or a digipeater.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So why would it go to this one way out in Clear Lake when there were closer ones to you?
Because the one in Clear Lake had a better receive antenna on it, maybe for whatever reason. So
as long as your receive antenna for the APRS signal is good, which is
in a good location with a good antenna,
like on top of Fisher.
Yep.
As long as it's a good enough antenna, then you should be able to get to remote or way out there on the desert lap.
Yep.
So it's a question of your antenna.
Yep. I think it's a question of the receive antenna. And I talked a little bit, I got a little nerdy with Stephen Lutz about this as well, talking about the usage of APRS. And he's actually talking about creating his own protocol.
Oh, interesting.
For tracking purposes for all the cars in King of the Hammers. So that'll be fun to see what he ends up coming up with. But he found a spot up in Big Bear.
Oh.
That if you put a high gain super directional antenna from up in Big Bear, point it directly down at Johnson Valley, he said you can pull a lot of radio signals out of Johnson Valley just because of it overlooks from 5,000-6,000 feet up.
Somebody else said that too.
Yeah.
I forgot who that was. Somebody said that like a year or two ago. It might have been Steven for all I know.
We were talking about it about a year or two ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it was him.
So if you put a receive antenna up in Big Bear and then a transmission or a link from there back to the Hammertown, you could pull a lot. I think you can get spooners and outer limits just fine out in the remote reaches of the desert lap just fine.
Wow.
Yeah. Rather than on Fisher, where if you get somebody on the backside of Spooners and Outer Limits right at the base, you're not going to get that signal
Right.
up and over that ledge up to Fisher. So
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
So, yeah, that's APRS.
that's APRS. Deep in the weeds of
Mhm.
APRS.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of really cool stuff. I think off-road events can make a big use of APRS. Just the kind of the tricky part is you can't make money off of it, right? It's a non-commercialized protocol.
Correct.
It's designed to be open source, not really open source for usage, for hobby usage and recreational usage.
Right.
So you shouldn't be using it to make money off of for business enterprise stuff. So there's kind of like that fine line. Our race teams are technically, a lot of them are businesses.
Yeah.
They're usually not in the profitable businesses.
No.
By any means. They're not making money. But yeah, there's, should you use APRS for race teams?
Yeah. I don't know.
And so it's kind of it's an interesting, moral line. Do you use it or do you not use it? And I'm kind of like, if you're not making money, you're not profitable. And I think racing is usually a non-profitable endeavor for
Yes.
an Ultra 4 world. So I'm like, I think it would be fine.
But what happens if your race team wins?
We're not profitable still. Even if you win, you're not profitable.
True.
How much money they spend on those cars and the time invested for everything. I mean, that you've got to be winning like $1 million purse.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
For everybody's time that's invested into those.
Let me ask you this. Since you have your own personal commercial frequency, and if you use your commercial frequency at an event, you're allowed to pretty much cover everybody at the event.
Yep.
If you're using your commercial frequency for APRS, could people that don't have a ham radio use
absolutely
your commercial frequency still?
Yes. Yeah, as long as I give them permission to.
Okay.
What governs the rules of licenses is what frequency and power you're operating on.
Okay.
Not what signal you're sending.
Got it.
So you can use an AP if I
don't want you to overpower somebody.
Exactly. They don't want you to overpower somebody. They don't want you to end up on frequencies you shouldn't be on. So that's what governs your licenses. Using an APRS protocol on a commercial frequency, you might get the diehard hams out there that are like, no, you can't do that. That's not cool. They're going to throw a fit. They're going to complain about it. But in my opinion, the spirit of the ham radio is not making profit off of ham radio. So as long as I'm not charging people to use radio location with my commercial repeaters, then I think that's fine.
Yeah. Well, why would diehards be upset about it if it's your frequency and that's what you're choosing to use it for?
You obviously have not spent a lot of time around diehard hams.
Well, there's obvious reasons.
Reasons for it, yes. Diehard hams tend to be extreme rule followers.
Sure.
And they will follow rules to the T rather than to the spirit, in my opinion. And I'm a spirit rule follower, right?
Yeah.
I'll look at why was a rule implemented and then try and follow the reasoning why the rule was implemented.
Sure. Okay.
And so that would be, it's the rule followers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tyler, the wild child over here.
I am. Yeah. Do as I say, or do as I, what is that? Do as I say, not as I do, but that doesn't count in this case either. So yeah, this is not legal advice with Tyler. This is not legal advice on how to use radios according to the FCC. This is what I personally do and what I will reason, and I'm taking the risk and liability for it. So if the FCC does have an issue with it, I'm going to owe them a lot of money.
Yep. And if you don't want to talk or send APRS on Tyler's channel, you can do it over at 144.39.
Yeah. Pull up a radio. If you have a Baofeng radio, just type in 144.390. You can listen to any frequency you want legally. You don't need licenses to listen to frequencies. You need licenses to transmit on frequencies. So if you're bored and you kind of want to know what an APRS packet is, I don't care where you are, go outside somewhere and put on 144.390 megahertz and you'll get to listen to APRS signals.
Yeah.
They are buzzing around you at all times.
Yeah. And then cue up the mic and say your T6 or K6 TLR.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that. You're going to piss a lot of people off.
Just try talking on that frequency. See what people say.
Yeah. So fun key that I've kind of figured out is if you're in a group talking on simplex on a group channel, group frequency, or on a repeater, and you hear somebody's APRS signal going through the repeater, you can set your radio to receive APRS signals on that frequency.
Oh, yeah.
It'll receive the APRS signal, decode it, and then you've got that person's call sign and can call them out and just say, hey, please turn off your APRS setting on this channel. Go to the 144.390. It's very annoying to listen to that packet come through.
Yeah, because like my radio, it sends the packet out on whatever whatever frequency that channel is set to.
Yes.
So I have my channel 2 set to send out APRS packets. So if I change channel 2 to be a simplex channel to chat with somebody else, it's still sending APRS packets out. It's just sending it out on a different channel now.
Yep. And you don't know it because you don't hear your transmission signals.
Correct.
But everybody else gets annoyed by this dial-up modem noise coming through every minute.
Yep. Yep.
So
yeah, if you are set to run APRS and you want to chat on that channel and change it, make sure you turn off your APRS sending before you change that channel.
Yep. Fun stuff. Nerdy things. Somebody reached out and said, hey, I need a class on this stuff. And I said, I don't have time, but if we put enough people together, if we can get 10 people together, I'll put a class together on how to use your radios. Cause that's the fun class,
right?
How to getting your license. That class sucks. It's a necessity, but it sucks. I don't like doing it, but the how to use your radios, I really enjoy that class that I have set up for those. So I have had 10 people now from the story I put out on Instagram.
Really?
Saying, all right, if we get 10 people together, we'll do it. Everybody let me know. We've had 10 people reach out.
So are they all local?
I hope so.
Or are they planning on you doing it online?
I'm not doing it online. I mean, in theory, we could do it online, but it would suck doing it online. So if you guys are local, message me on Instagram, 4x4 Toyota Tyler, and I'll put together a class. I'll make it happen here, especially since I'm kind of on house arrest for the next few months.
Yeah. You just might have to go to his house to take the class.
You might have to, but worse things have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can hang out at the bar.
There you go.
Yep.
Just put the baby in a bowl on the bar and you'll be set.
Yep. Exactly.
Cool. Or you need to get a saddle for the intern.
And put the baby on the saddle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
I like it.
So yeah, get in contact with me if you're interested in being part of that class, and I'll start putting together details for it. Since we've had enough people, I'll do it. I love doing that class. So I just need to figure out when and where and what time and everything. So
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hit us up. You can call in 916-345-4744. Let Tyler know that you want in that class. But probably the best way to do it is email him, Tyler at snailtrail4x4 or Tyler at moreflate.com.
Yep, that'll work.
That one would probably be more direct for the radio stuff.
Yeah.
And then if you have any questions for me, because you want to talk to me about anything besides radio, you can find me on Instagram, snailtrail4x4, or Jimmy at snailtrail4x4.com. And Tyler's Instagram, if you want to message him that way, 4x4 Toyota Tyler. Didn't say that one earlier. So.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, man. Fun episode. Some interesting things that kind of happened with APRS and kind of a deep dive on APRS. If you guys have other questions, reach out. We love hearing from you guys. And I guess that's it. So Jimmy, any final words for everybody out there?
I'm pretty sure you can still get your ham radio license online.
There's still places that are doing it. So shoot me a message. I can get you links to those too. And with that, my friends, keep growling.
I got one for you.
You have a very concerning, cheeky smile.
I don't quite get it.
Oh, okay. Let's have it.
Why did Tinkerbell get made fun of at school?
Because she's short?
She's Peter Pants.
She Peter Pants.
She Peter Pants?
That one's a stretch. She Peter Pants.
She Peter Pants. I don't get I understand why somebody could bait. I don't know how those two connect. Why does Peter Pants? I don't know. I understand that she peed her pants. I get it, but why are they trying to say something about Peter Pan? Why did Peter?
They're just making a connection between. It's a stretch.
Yeah,
that one's a bad one.
Yeah,
that one's
okay.
We can burn that card.
Fire. And we need to use the red side.
I need to use the back side. Okay.